How's it going, guys? My name is Franco and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be going through when I'm going to sell my cryptocurrency. Now I know it's very early to be talking about selling, but you have to have these things planned out and in place. So if the conditions are met, that you do actually pull the trigger and sell your crypto. But of course, before we do jump into my plan of selling, guys, remember, if you do enjoy this sort of content, hit that subscribe button. We're currently at 664 subscribers, so if we could push that up to 700, that would be much appreciated. Or if you're watching this video and we're already at 700 subs, well, we're pushing for 1000 this year, so any sub is a good sub. And if you do enjoy the content, feel free to hit that like button. And if you have any questions, feel free to comment down below and I'll answer as soon as I can. Now, I've had a trading plan in place for quite a while now during this cycle, which allowed me to accumulate a lot of cryptos at the lows, which was very good. But of course, with any buying strategy comes a selling strategy. And I've got 3 conditions that if any one of these are met, I will I'm going to sell out basically if any of these conditions are met. Alright, so let's jump into the first condition. It's going to be timing. Now, as you can see, or as if you guys know, if you've been watching my monthly analysis, you know we've been following the 4-year cycle for quite a while now, and we've been, tracking this the whole way through. And pretty well, what we're looking at is a peak in late 2025 based off our 4-year cycle. So pretty well, if we get to this time next year, around October, November, December, and we are at all-time highs, I will be selling all of my cryptocurrency. No ifs or buts. If we're at 150k, if we're at 120k, if we're at 180k, 200k, 500k, whatever it is, if we get to this time next year, unless there is something that has fundamentally changed in the cryptocurrency space, maybe if some major country came out and said that Bitcoin's the reserve dollar or something, something absolutely enormous would have to change for my thesis or this selling point to change. I plan to be sold out completely before 2026. So whether that means the plan isn't entirely set out, depending on what I'm seeing in the market. I might start selling out, mid 2025. I might start selling out later 2025, but I plan to be all out before 2026. Pretty well no ifs or buts about that. Wherever the price is, I will be, well and truly done by 2026, and hopefully before the bear market kicks in, because as we've said, we've been following this 4-year cycle for quite a while now, and we can see that generally, after about a year or so after the green period that we've been calling, we do get a peak. Now, of course, we're not going to sell the exact top. The months change a little bit. We've got 11 bars, 10 bars, 11 bars to the peak, and then we're predicting about 11 bars to the peak again, which takes us out to October 2025. So we'll probably start selling maybe, June, July, August, September, October, November, right? Like, we're going to have a long DCAing out of the market, if that makes sense. So timing is one of our selling points. If we get to this time in the market next year and the other two conditions haven't been met, then we will be selling out of the market. The second reason would be a large structural change in Bitcoin. And what I'm particularly talking about is if I can find my horizontal ray, if we break down on the swing lows. So this is a monthly chart and we're looking at the swing lows here. Now, currently we've only got 2 major swing lows. So if we if we were to come down and break any of these, and what we're assuming is, same thing again, say this, is the monthly swing low in Bitcoin, just hypothetically, for the sake of this video, Bitcoin bottomed and then pumped up from here. If prior to, late 2025, we see Bitcoin actually come back down and break a swing low, close below, we see a major structural change in Bitcoin, that would be a selling point for me. Even if we don't reach, our time target, even if we don't reach any major price targets, if the structure of Bitcoin changes, particularly on a monthly chart, we have to look to sell out before things pretty well get terrible. Now, of course, this scenario, particularly at this point in time, seems to be a long way away, because as you can see, if we remove all these hypothetical monthly swing lows, you can see we've got 2 major swing lows, which are huge price, well over 50% away from the current Bitcoin prices. Now, of course, with Bitcoin, you can really never say never. You know, it's not that this can't happen and that, you know, we can't just from this point basically fall off a cliff and break below. That would obviously be a selling point for me, but please, I don't, you know, this is in the highly unlikely realm. But what we could look at is later in the cycle, you know, when we're talking about, where are we, you know, late 2025, where's late 2025? We'll quickly, even if, you know, say this is the bottom, maybe we pump up, we put in another lower high, we pump up, and then we break it. If something like that happens, even if it's before, maybe it's only mid 2025, that there would be a selling point, hypothetically. So if that makes sense, right, a major structural change, if it happens obviously before our time target, we would be looking to sell out a little bit earlier. Hopefully it is at a higher price point. Hopefully it doesn't collapse from here. Hopefully it's at a nice high price point. Maybe, you know, the breakdown might come at, you know, 150k, might come, you know, only at 100k, but that's the thing, we can't predict the exact top. So if, you know, we see a major structural change, that would be our other selling point for Bitcoin and cryptos as a whole. And finally, our last reason to sell would be a sort of price target, but I'm not picking any price in particular. You know, I'm not sitting here saying, you know, 200k is my sell point. You know, I'm not dumping all my Bitcoin once it hits 200k or 150k, or anything like that. What I'm more looking at is just my portfolio as a whole, and, you know, if I, you know, even if it's, maybe it's mid next year, maybe, you know, it's early next year, it could be April, you know, May, something like that next year, even before our time target, even if the structure hasn't broken down, you know, if one day I look at my portfolio, and I've made what I consider life-changing money, well, I'll probably sell out. You know, that's kind of where, you know, you have to kind of put your greed away. Even, you know, if I don't sell the exact top, if it is, you know, if the money on my portfolio is too much to give away, I will sell out, you know, if that makes sense. And, you know, I think that's something you guys have to look at as well, going into what could be a crazy bull market. You know, not necessarily picking off, if my portfolio reaches 100k, I sell out. But, you know, just be prepared. You know, one day you're going to probably wake up and you're going to say, you know what, that's good, you know, and when you pull out of the market entirely, you're done. You got to put the computers away. So, you know, that's something else I'm looking at, that, you know, I'm not necessarily putting a price target on it or anything. But if I do get to a point where I say, you know what, this is too much money, you know, this would change my life, you know, might help me buy a house, something like that, you know, that's when I'll say that is enough for me, and I'll pull out of the market, even if it's before our price target, even if it's before, or not our price target, sorry, even if it's before our time target of this black line here selling out before 2026, even if it's, you know, the structure hasn't necessarily broken down. You know, if I look at it and I go, that's pretty good. If I think the markets are a bit hot, and I'm satisfied with my gains, I will pull the pin, even if it means it's a little bit early. You know, I'm happy to do that, because the last thing I want is to ride this, the bear market down, sort of thing. So those are my three sell points effectively. So as we said, we've got a time-based target. We're looking at selling, you know, later in 2025. If we get to that point in time and we haven't sold, we will start dollar cost averaging out, no matter what the market's doing, basically, whether it's up, down, sideways. You know, super greedy, you know, your structure looks great, we're still going to start selling out. The other one, of course, as we said, is breaking those swing lows. If we start breaking some swing lows, if we see the monthly structure start to change significantly, we will pull the pin and, you know, jump out of the market effectively. And the other one is, you know, price targets. Obviously, as we just said, you know, if we look at our portfolio, guys, and if you look at your portfolio and you think, wow, I've made some really good money, you know, just consider selling. You know, it's not a bad thing. Even maybe it's a bit early now, but, you know, even if it's, you know, before 2025, and, you know, you think, wow, this is some really good money, you know, it's not like a very set in stone sort of target, but it is something you need to consider. You know, that, you know, you just got to be satisfied at some point. You know, I've got some magical numbers in my head that, you know, if I hit this, you know, if my portfolio went up to this, I'll probably have to pull the pin. You know, I'd happily pull out, sort of thing. So of course it's all hypotheticals and ifs and buts, but, you know, the more set in stone ones are that structure and that price target, and then of course, you know, time targets, not price targets, time targets, And then of course the price targets are a little bit more up in the air. But you know, those are my three reasons as to why I'm going to sell or when I'm going to sell my cryptocurrencies, depending on these factors. And of course, if you do enjoy this content, guys, feel free to hit that subscribe button and follow our monthly analysis videos, which you can see here, monthly analysis for April and monthly analysis for May. And you can see just through that little short preview there, we go through the 4-year cycle. We go through all of our targets and what is to come in the market, so you know, you can get a better idea of what I'm thinking, you know, each and every month effectively, you know, and where I sit and what sort of altcoins and stuff I'm looking at. So that could be helpful if you do enjoy this sort of content. Anyway, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your week, weekend, or wherever you are. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, comment any questions you have down below. Check out the referral codes as well in the description, and I'll see you guys in the next one.